How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Geeks-Stew, and today welcome back to Geek Rants with Ike. It's been a little bit since I've done actual Geek Rants. I know last week I did some different things. Honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering what I did last week, but I guess that's usually how it is, right? But anyways, today, guys, we're going to do Geek Rants. It is going to be Dragon Ball Z related. As I mentioned in a previous video, I actually have been going back and watching the Dragon Ball Z series. I typically try and do this maybe once a year, just because I really like the series. It's a lot of fun to sit down and watch, and honestly, my favorite thing about the series is that you can watch it endless numbers of times, and I can always find something to kind of enthrall myself with. And then today is no different, because today I think I have a little bit of a plot hole that I wanted to kind of flesh out and talk about. But let's see. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Piccolo problem. So you're probably asking yourself, like, you love Piccolo. Why is there a Piccolo problem? And I'll explain it to you here. So, I love Piccolo. Piccolo's probably one of my favorite characters within the series, if not my most favorite. Generally speaking, Piccolo, just, I don't know, there's a lot of different stuff about Piccolo that I love, but in this situation, there is one thing that I've noticed that I'm kind of confused about, and I don't know if this is just like one of those situations where you just say, yeah, it happened, oh well, move on, or if this is one of those situations of this is a legitimate plot hole. So let's do it. So starting off, we're going to go back to the Dragon Ball series. So let's start there. Let's start with the origin of Piccolo. So the simple origin of Piccolo is that he came from his father, Piccolo. You're probably asking, what do you mean? So in the Dragon Ball series, there is a Namekian with no name that came to Earth and was going to assume the role of the Guardian. The modern Guardian, as we know it, is Kami. But originally, there was a Namekian with a different name, but we don't know its name. They don't remember their name. And you're probably thinking, who is they? Who doesn't remember their name? Well, Kami and Piccolo. In the beginning, it was Kami and Demon King Piccolo. They separated from one being. Demon King Piccolo was the evil that the Namekian had, and basically he could not become Guardian of the Earth unless he was pure of heart. That being said, they split. The two Namekians split, one being Kami and one being Demon King Piccolo. Demon King Piccolo would then go on to murder lots of humans, Kami not being able to stop him. In addition to that, nobody on Earth could stop him. You know, the protectors at that time were Master Roshi and Master Shen and his their master, Master Mutaito. And they weren't able to protect the Earth, and in fact, almost all of them died. So what happened was that Master Mutaito found a way to trap Demon King Piccolo by using a technique called the Mafuba. The Mafuba would trap Demon King Piccolo in a rice cooker, which I don't know why, rice cooker, but trap him in a rice cooker, and that would essentially not kill him, but prevent him from hurting anybody else. That being said, Master Mutaito died because the Mafuba typically does kill the user once the containment is done, at least according to the original Dragon Ball canon. So what happened then was, moving forward, obviously Demon King Piccolo didn't stay in there for long. Eventually he did escape, and by escaping he then started to kill people on Earth. When he started to do that, though, that's when Goku was becoming trained, and he was able to take him on and actually, do something about it. And of course, we know the story from there. Goku kills Demon King Piccolo, and by killing Demon King Piccolo, he spits out an egg, right? And then the egg then becomes the Piccolo we know. But now we need to talk about the problem with this. So the problem that I'm finding, and that I kind of noticed when I was watching this series, is that there's obviously a long-standing, catch-22, if you will, that when you separate from your Namekian body, and you create two of yourself, which in this case, creating Kami and creating Demon King Piccolo, if Demon King Piccolo or Kami were to die, the other person would die as well. which kind of explains as to why Kami wasn't able to step in and do anything to stop Piccolo, because in doing so would also kill him. And I guess there's always some form of self-preservation, even if you are the god of Earth. Well, God. That being said, we run into the issue of, during the Dragon Ball Z series, in the Saiyan saga, Piccolo is killed by Nappa. And when Piccolo is killed by Nappa, Kami also dies. So then my issue and my question comes into play. When Goku killed Demon King Piccolo in the Dragon Ball series, why did that not also kill Kami? Why didn't it kill Kami? And here is my assumption, right? Demon King Piccolo regurgitated an egg, asexually reproducing to expand on the species, which then created Piccolo Jr., his son, the modern Piccolo that we know. And in doing so, somehow saved Kami. So my question is, when the Namekians reproduce, when they do so, is it creating an exact copy of their previous self? In which case, it would make sense, because if they're making an exact copy of themselves, then it would make sense why Kami didn't die. But typically, when you reproduce, what you're reproducing is going to be different than what you are, right? You know, let's say you and somebody else have a kid. Genetically and biologically speaking, that kid's not going to be a copy of you. It's going to be a conglomeration of both of your genetics. It may look like you, but on a genetic or biological level, it's going to be a combination of those two parents. Now, obviously, I know that in this situation, it's a single organism asexually reproducing into another organism. But my question is that, does this somehow circumvent the rules that were established when Demon King Piccolo and Kami initially separated? And that's kind of what I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around, is because based on kind of how they're doing it, they're basically implying that Demon King Piccolo and Piccolo Jr. should be the same people. So that being said, that's the Piccolo issue. Demon King Piccolo and Piccolo Jr. then should be the same exact person, no differences, and in addition to that, should also have the same rules. They should have the same criteria. But Piccolo ends up being a good guy. So that's kind of what we need to talk about now is there a solution to the Piccolo problem, or is it just going to be the Piccolo problem? So now that we've kind of addressed the past, the present of Piccolo, I guess my question is that from this point forward, you know, obviously in the original, you know, Demon King Piccolo regurgitated the egg in an effort to not necessarily save himself, but to keep his lineage, right? To reproduce. And I guess my question would be is that, can Piccolo also do that? And if Piccolo can do that, is this like an escape clause? Is this like an escape plan? Because if we're following the logic from previous, Kami and Piccolo are connected. If one of them dies, they both die. So I guess my question now, and I guess if anybody has the answer to this, if he regurgitates again, is that going to be the same Piccolo, or is it going to be someone different? Could it be evil Piccolo? Now, I guess the question would be now as well is that there are multiple people being fused within Piccolo, that being Piccolo, Nail, and Kami. So my question then would be as well is that, will that next, you know, iteration somehow represent the three of them? And also, you know, Piccolo's died multiple times in the series. Why has he not tried to regurgitate before, reproduce before? So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions because it feels like, and also it could be that Demon King Piccolo was just old, right? Demon King Piccolo had been around for hundreds of years. So then I guess the question would also be begged is that if Demon King Piccolo did this, and it's assumed that all Namekians can do this, why hasn't Piccolo done this? Can Piccolo not do this? When once you're reproduced, can you not do it again? I feel like that's a biological imperative that should be there, because if there's like a certain limit to how many people who could do that, then I guess there comes a point where you can no longer reproduce within the species. So that would be my question now, is that can Piccolo do this? So that's what we're going to look at. And I did some research, so I'm not really sure if this is going to be accurate, but can Piccolo reproduce is the question. So I did a little research. I did a little research on like how the whole process works. Obviously, I know this is a fictional story, so I guess the question now is like, we have this whole reproduction cycle, and it kind of makes sense once I read about it. So bear with me here. So obviously on Earth, Demon King Piccolo has been doing this whole reproduction process like repeatedly, and not just for Piccolo. He actually, if people don't know this, in the original series, he actually creates like minions, and he uses reproduction cycle as a way to create minions. And then in Planet Namek society, there's actually like a hierarchy, right? Only the eldest Namekian can lay eggs, which I guess begs the question of, was Demon King Piccolo a eldest Namekian, or is he just circumventing the whole rule? And if he's circumventing the whole rule, does that also mean that other people can circumvent the rule? Or is there some kind of imperative, sort of like a wolf pack, where you have to follow the alpha or the hierarchical standards? In addition to that, just to kind of give some additional information or what it may be. So they can also choose the appearance of their spawn, which is interesting to me because I feel that if you could choose the look of yourself, I guess it would make sense that he would want his actual spawn, his actual son, in this case Piccolo, to look like him. Because of course there are other entities such as Symbol, which I think is like a flying like dragon-esque looking thing, in the Dragon Ball saga that looks like that. So it's sort of an interesting imperative, and also to kind of also go under this, Cell can also do something similar. So if people don't remember, Cell is a conglomeration of all of the Z fighters, right? The Z fighters all trained and everything else, and Dr. Gero grabbed little bits of their DNA to conglomerate into this new being. And when he did that, he created Cell. Cell has a little bit of everything. So he can regrow limbs and also asexually reproduce. And he actually does so by creating the Cell Juniors in the Cell Saga, which is a trait he inherited from Piccolo. So that's pretty cool, completely separate from what we were talking about otherwise. So I guess the issue now is that I guess the answer to our initial question is that I guess any Namekian can circumvent the hierarchical rules of not reproducing unless you're an elder. And I guess we also have to assume that as long as the person puts all of their energy into it and intends it to be so, that they can basically impart themselves onto that reproduction. Because that would have to be the assumption for Kami to not have died when Goku killed Demon King Piccolo. So, as long as you have a spawn existing, then in this case, Piccolo / Kami would not have died. Which I guess opens up a whole other slew of plot holes that I guess Piccolo could have, some child sitting out there somewhere in a test tube that's alive, which would keep Kami alive and so on and so forth. But yeah, that was kind of an interesting process that I had opened into when I started rewatching the series. So let me know what you guys think. I know this is kind of a little bit of all over the place, and I'm kind of like up and down trying to figure this out a little bit. But this was an interesting thought process that I kind of thought of when I was watching the series, and because I'm in the Saiyan saga, and I see Piccolo die and Kami dies. So it opens the question, and it begs the question, if you will, that, okay, well, if the original Namekian on Earth was Kami / Demon King Piccolo, they separated so that way Kami could become God. Demon King Piccolo starts doing crazy shit on Earth. Demon King Piccolo dies, Kami dies. But Demon King Piccolo regurgitates an egg, which somehow circumvents the whole splitting Namekian rule, so that way Kami stays alive. Irregardless, let me know what you guys think. If you have any thoughts, or if you've ever thought about this, or maybe this is just me being crazy, who knows? But let me know what you think. Comment in this comment section down below, send us a tweet, post us on Facebook, and let us know what you think about this situation that we've kind of brought upon ourselves. But that being said, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to stop rambling about the reproductive cycle of Namekians, but you guys stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep on growing. See you in the next one.